Hello everybody and welcome back to Operation Logistics, where I did not really nail that intro, but it's fine. So one thing I would like to do real quick is I'd like to get rid of these warnings before we move on too much. So let's go ahead and public override, and this is going to be object.equals, or actually we'll do get hash code right now, and we're just going to return the base. Public override equals, and we're just going to return the base. Visual Studio just autofills that. This is fine. I'm not concerned about this, and I don't think we're going to be using the hash code or equals. If we do, we can come back and change this if necessary. But for right now, I just want to get rid of the warnings. There we go. That was easy. Okay, so let's head into our object balance, and we need to implement all of these other vehicle types, as well as all of the buildings that we can actually construct. So the buildings that are useful to us. Everything else doesn't really matter. Although we could implement like NPC building balance with different demolition costs for each type of building. It's a possibility. But for right now, I'm going to go ahead and just implement these vehicles. So public vehicle balance, truck, public vehicle balance, train, public vehicle balance, ship, public vehicle balance, plane. Okay. So, there's our vehicles implemented in the balance, at least. The vehicles aren't actually implemented. And down here, we've got our delivery vehicle, but we've also got our truck, train, ship, and plane. So let's go ahead and set these up. Truck, oops, there we go. Truck, train, ship, and plane. And the truck is going to cost about 10 times as much as the delivery vehicle, so 1,000. It's going to have a much longer range, maybe around... How many hexes across? Is our standard hex? Well, let's see. If we are going from here to here, which is basically the distance of one hex, that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 hexes. So the delivery vehicle can go pretty much anywhere within a biome hex. That's actually not necessarily what I want it to do. So I'm going to nerf down the vehicle range of the delivery vehicle for right now. That said, 10 hexes, including return. You have to get it back. So if you're here, you could go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, but then you'd have to turn around and go back. I actually think that's fine. So we'll have the vehicle range for the truck be something along the lines of 20 hexes. So you'll be able to set up a fueling depot like every other hex where you want to go. That should be fine. Now the train. That range would be huge. Absolutely massive. Something along the lines of 100 hexes. The speed on it wouldn't be super good. The speed on it would be maybe about 1 hex per hour. And for the truck, it would also be about 1 hex per hour. So about the same speed. We're looking at American trains here, not like Japanese trains. The truck cargo capacity should be at least 10 times that of the delivery vehicle. So we'll go with that to start with. We can always tweak that later on. The train cargo capacity should be at least 10 times that of the truck. It feels like that's a little low. 50 times that of the truck. Now the ship, or rather the train, costs a lot. We'll have that, for now, be 10 times the cost of a truck. Even though that's definitely probably lower than we want it to be. We'll experiment with that and play around with it. If it's way too cheap, I mean, the other cost that you have to consider for trains is you have to lay the track yourself. The track doesn't exist at the start of the game. So that's a significant cost there. I think 10,000 for a train is fine. Now, as far as a ship goes, that'll be about the same cost to start with. It will have a similar range. Actually, it will have a much, much bigger range, because it needs to be able to sail over many world hexes. So we'll say it has a range of 1,000. Its speed is very slow, though. So about 0.5 hexes per hour. Takes about 2 hours to travel a hex, which is a building hex specifically. So it would take, you know, about 10 hours, or rather about 20 hours to traverse one biome hex. That's maybe too slow. I don't know. We'll see how it feels. And then finally, the cargo capacity of the ship should be, I don't know, maybe half that of the train? That said, thinking about cargo capacities of actual shipping container ships, it's quite high. Maybe we'll have it be on par with the train for right now. So the only difference here is trains have or rather ships have a longer range, but much lower speed. But also, trains don't go on water. And neither do ships on land. So there's that. And then the other thing is planes. Planes don't have as good of cargo capacity, and I think for right now we're going to have them start at 10,000 as well. Their range would be about the same as that of a ship. And their speed would be much higher. At least 10 times faster than a ship. However, their cargo capacity wouldn't be anywhere near as good. So we'll go for something kind of like that. 1/5 the cargo capacity of a train or a ship at the same price, but it just moves much faster. So that's the trade-off there. Okay, so there's all of the balance for the vehicles implemented. And then we need to go through and do the same for the buildings. And I'm trying to remember, I can never remember where we declared the building enum. Let's just go to implementation. Sub hex manager. Okay. So, here we are. Yeah, okay. So we've got our Carberth Postal Office sorting facility for this stuff here. The Postal Office, of course, is kind of a hybrid Carberth and sorting facility that is not intended to be specialized and not intended to be utilized heavily outside of urban areas. Urban areas, the intention is that the player buys up a bunch of land that's close to each other and runs all of this. Like, they run, instead of a postal office, they run maybe 3 Carberths and a sorting facility. Or something like that. That's kind of the concept, anyway. So let's go ahead and hop over to our object balance. And we'll go ahead and do public building balance, Carberth, or not Carbert, Carberth, there we go. And public building balance, this one will be sorting facility. Like so. Okay, let's get this compiled. Okay. Hop into our scripts here. And we do have... Oh, hello. We've got a building balance in our business. We don't actually need that. What we should have is a reference to this mono behavior, this object balance. So I'm actually surprised that compiled. I suppose that makes sense. Let's get rid of that for right now. And actually, these costs are now irrelevant. That said, I'm going to leave them there because they cause errors. If we delete it, we'll deal with that later. And I just realized that we do not have a public float vehicle upkeep. And this, of course, is the upkeep cost per week. Okay, let's go ahead and go into here. Come on, go ahead and compile. There we go. And yeah, many of these balance variables are going to be moved over into here, this particular script. So our upkeep on a delivery vehicle, for right now, I'm kind of thinking that maybe it should be around 5% of the cost. So we'll go with 5 for the delivery vehicle, 50 for the truck, 500 for the train, ship, and plane. And again, that can be adjusted later on, easily enough. So we now have our postal office, car berth, and sorting facility. One thing we need is we need to have in the vehicle type a none vehicle type. That's for sure. Let's make sure that this doesn't mess any of this up. It did indeed. I was afraid of that because we didn't add it at the end. We added it at the beginning. So delivery vehicle, truck, train, ship, and plane. There we go. And then the postal office would be of type postal office. There we go. It would have a vehicle storage type of delivery vehicle with a vehicle capacity of 1. It's not intended to be a particularly good building. It's intended to give cheap coverage over a small area. So there's that. So the construction cost of this, I think, would be the base construction cost, which is 500. So we'll go ahead and put in 500 here. The demolition cost, I think, as a first pass, we're going to go ahead and have be 10% of the construction cost. So that would cost 50. And then the upkeep, actually, we'll have it be about 25%. So 500 times 0.25 is 125. Okay. And then the upkeep here would be about the 10% of the construction cost, or maybe about 5% of the construction cost, which would be $25. That should be fine. And then it's got a sorting capacity of how many packages per hour. How many packages indeed? Maybe something around 10 packages per hour. And then it's got a loading capacity. This loading capacity is in meters cubed per hour. And it's got a delivery vehicle. So I think it should take about 1 hour to load the one delivery vehicle. So it would be about 10 cubic meters. So it's got a sorting capacity of 10 and a loading capacity of 10, but a lot of packages are less than that. So it might take longer to sort than it does to load, but that's okay. So there's the postal office done. The car berth, on the other hand, no, it's not a road intersection 3-way, it's a car berth, would have a construction cost of a little bit more than the baseline postal office, probably, or maybe a little, or maybe closer to the same. So maybe around like 550. And this would be 550 times 0.25, so 137.50 to demolish this thing. And then the upkeep would be, what did I determine? 500. What's 500 divided by 25? That's 20. Okay. So a 20th. That makes sense. 550 divided by 20 is 27.5. Yeah, that's fine. So it does not have any sorting capacity at the car berth at all. But the loading capacity there would be at least triple the loading capacity of the postal office. Maybe something along the lines of Yeah, we'll call it triple. And then it can have up to 5 vehicles. And this is a car berth, so it only uses delivery vehicles, which are the kind of baseline vehicle. And then our sorting facility would... No, it's not a storefront. It's a sorting facility. There we go. It would have a construction cost basically the same as the car berth, so 550, which means a demolition of 137.5 and an upkeep of 27.5. This would have a sorting capacity, again, at least triple the post office, and these are only base numbers. I am planning on allowing you to upgrade buildings to some degree. I don't know how far yet. But we'll go ahead and have a sorting capacity of 30, and a loading capacity of 0. Actually, rather than this being triple... No, this is still more efficient. It's still more efficient to build a car berth and a sorting facility than it is to build 3 postal offices. Yes. Even if I increase the construction cost by a fair amount, like, it would cost 1,500 here. What if I wanted to have it cost 1,200 for this? So that way these would be 600 each. Yeah, I like that, actually. I like that a lot. 600 times 0.25. So that would be 150. And I'm going to guess this is 30. Yeah, it's 30. And there are no vehicles in a sorting facility, so vehicle capacity of 0, vehicle storage type of none. Okay. So there's that done. Excellent. So next up, we should go ahead and do... that was in Sub-Hex Manager, yes? Yes. So let's go ahead and do the truck depot structures next. So that'll be the truck berth, staging area, and fueling station. So, public building balance, truck berth. No, not truck berth. Public building balance. This one will be the... what was it? What did I call it? Staging area. Staging area. And public building balance fueling station. Now, the point of the fueling station isn't to have it near these things. When a vehicle returns to its berth, it's automatically refueled at that time. However, if you have a fueling station out along a route, a vehicle will stop at that fueling station for, I don't know, 20 minutes, half an hour, something like that, and they will be fully refueled and can continue the route at that point. Okay, so we've got our truck berth, staging area, fueling station. So let's go ahead and get these implemented. So the truck berth, staging area, and fueling station. Now the fueling station has no capacity to do anything, including have vehicles, but, like I said, it's going to be very useful. So that's going to cost... I think we're going to start the truck facility at approximately double that of the standard prices. So we'll have this cost $1,200 to construct for all of these for now. We can feel out how this actually plays out later on. But the truck berth will be able to store up to, say, I went with 5 for the car berth. Is that correct? I did. Let's go for 6. Bump that up to 6. And the sorting facility would be hard-pressed to sustain that. You'd need 2 sorting facilities per car berth, and I'd kind of prefer... unless you upgraded it. We'll bring this up to a sorting capacity of 50 and a loading capacity of 50, which means that postal offices are going to be really bad if you don't actually if you're maxing out the postal office, it's going to be really bad. If you don't have the volume, you're still better off to build a postal office, but it's not going to be great. So the truck berth is going to have a vehicle capacity of 6 for right now. And no, come back, staging area. There we go. And it will be of type truck. And again, these are base numbers and can be upgraded. So maybe we'll bring that down to, no, not up to 7. Maybe we'll bring that down to 4. Yeah, I think we'll put it at 4 for right now. And then we will put this at 40 and 40. So you'd be able to put in upgrades for those. Okay. The demolition cost is what, 10% is what I said? 20%. Okay. Or is that 25%? I think that's 25. Yeah, that's 25%. Okay, so 1200 times 0.25. Nope, not 15, 0.25. 300. And then the upkeep would, of course, be 5%? Yes, the upkeep would be 5%. So 1200 times 0.05. Excellent. So, the truck berth has no sorting capacity and no loading capacity. So we are done with the truck berth. The demolition cost of the staging area can be 300 for now, and an upkeep of 60. And the staging area would have no sorting capacity, but it would have a decent loading capacity. And because, well, it wouldn't have any vehicle storage, so none. Vehicle storage type none here as well. Just want to make sure that that was unaffected. Car berth is vehicle, or delivery vehicle. Yep, that's all good. So vehicle storage type none for the truck berth is not right. That should be truck. I don't know why I changed that. The staging area should be none, and the fueling station should be none. No loading capacity, no sorting capacity, no vehicle capacity, and 300. And I'm actually going to make the upkeep of the fueling station be double that of the other ones here, just because I think it's going to be very powerful. So the staging area would have a loading capacity that is very high, actually, because trucks have a cargo capacity of 100 cubic meters right now. So let's go ahead and bump this on up to around, like, yeah, about 400 for now. Maybe like 350. We can tweak all of these later. That's fine. But if you want to sort, you're going to need to have sorting facilities. And actually, the sorting capacity here should be much, much higher. I'm realizing. Yeah, it should be closer to like 500. Because we have to balance between the car berth and postal office and the truck berth and staging area. So the loading capacity here would be like 400. This can sort, because I want the sorting facility to feed multiple structures. That's the idea. Anyway, that's something that we can sort out later on. So we've got that implemented at this point. And as of right now, I'm going to go ahead and put a cut in here, and next episode, we will continue implementing buildings into our balance script. See you all then.